I am here with Christi Rojas, and we are going to talk about call reluctance. Christi,
Mhm.
let's tell them. I mean, I feel like everybody knows what call reluctance is, but just in case, you want to tell them what it is?
It's that feeling you get when it's time to make those calls, those cold calls, sometimes even warm ones. Just,
You mean the
uh,
excitement that you're about
ah,
to generate leads and money? That is what you're talking about?
yeah. And see, and it's a good point that you brought that up too, because sometimes what we feel is fear, if we look at it from the negative perspective, is really excitement.
Yeah,
That's what it is. I mean, I feel like they kind of live in the same family. It just depends on
they're cousins.
how you choose to look at it. Because like on a
Yeah.
roller coaster, you feel both, right? You're like scared as hell, but then you're like, yay, and putting your hands up in the air. I think if you have that attitude for the reluctance of calling, that it would work the same way.
I agree. And I think that it comes from actually doing the work because I know that well, let's just dive in. Like, I know you're experiencing this now. So let's talk about, well, let's tell them the story about why we decided to do this video. And then we'll do like an overarching of like what you've experienced over the last like couple weeks or month or however long we've been working on this.
Yeah, yeah.
All
Okay.
right, what happened?
So basically, there was a call that I need to make, and it wasn't just any call. It was to a couple $1 million home.
Right. Which,
So
if for those of you in California, I mean, that's like nothing. But for
right,
us,
that's a box. Hmm.
yeah, for us, it's a
Yeah,
lot. It's above average price point.
well
Right.
above average price point. Because I think in this market that would probably be considered more on the luxury home side, and
No
they
matter
have.
what market, it's luxury in Ohio. But yes.
so so it was and then there's just these feelings, that little voice in the head that says, you can't do this, or what if they say no, or what if, there's all those things.
Or
um
making up, I know for me, like I can remember because sometimes I still have call reluctance, if I'm being honest. And I know that, like, for me, like, when I like make up this story about whatever, either positive or negative, like, based on the stats and the information I see, like, on the page, right? I'm like, oh, well, they must be this way or they must be that way. But it's like made up. I don't actually know because I've never literally talked to them.
right, right. And then sometimes you end up, I know for me, many times, after I just jump and take the leap, past the call reluctance, I end up having really a really good day.
Yeah.
And so that just proves again that there's nothing but, it's all about fear. It's all about, and something that you've made up in your mind, because it's not even real.
So, how do you above the average price point? And you want to call them, but you're scared, nervous because you don't know what they're going to say, and it's a lot of money potentially, blah, blah, blah. What happened?
So you broke up a little bit. You said, I heard you say, "How do you?" And then you went off, and then when you
Oh,
came back, you were
sorry.
saying, "Yeah, no, it's okay." What was the question?
How did you get over it for this case? So it was a couple $1 million, and you were like nervous about it, and then you did it. What happened?
You want to do more deals, but your current sphere is not big enough. What are you going to do? Well, you need to make new friends. So the best way to do that is through cold calling. I use RedX to call expireds, for sale by owners, for rent by owners, circle prospect, and you can too. Go to theredx.com/fight club and get your setup fee waived.
Well,
You don't have to
a
give the
little birdie,
details.
a little
Like,
birdie
it
named
just,
Jen told me to think of something that I would hate to do,
yeah.
uh, that would just kill me to do, even more than making the calls.
Right.
So I came up with something. We came up with something, and I decided, yeah. I'd rather make the call. So I actually made the call and had a really, really good conversation.
You made the call actually right then. And I think this is like the case in point, because it has to be something, like you said, that you hate more than making the call. And it
Yeah,
really only has to be that first call, because like you also said before, once you make the first call, it becomes a lot easier. So like whatever it is for you, if it's the first call or if it's the first 50 minutes or the first 30 minutes or whatever it is, if
yeah.
we can create something that you hate more than that, it will then be fun. So
Hmm.
you had a great call. What happened?
I had a great call. And even though that particular seller was not ready at the time, he had decided that he was going to hold on to it a little longer, do some renovations, um, and hold on to the property and maybe try to sell it at a later date. But we had a really, really good conversation, is the point. It was nothing to fear at all.
He didn't kill
And
you? He
say
didn't
that
kill
again.
you? Oh, I said he didn't kill you.
He did not kill me. He did not go. He did not say go F yourself. He did not say.
Oh, he
He
didn't do any of that.
no. Actually, he was very nice. I mean, we had probably like a 15-minute, maybe even 20-minute conversation. It wasn't
Right,
like he was like, hell no, and then just hung up the phone. No, it
right.
didn't work. And a lot of times that's what it is. That's, and to be quite honest with you, he still has some financial things going on. So I just put him in the pipeline to call in a couple of
Yeah, but
months
that's fine,
to
right?
just,
I mean,
right. Because
yeah,
we now have this rapport. And then of course I'm gonna put him on some kind of drip, send information to him just to keep my
or
face out
whatever. Right.
in front of him. Um, so yeah, it was not the dreaded, the horror experience. And it's weird because like you said, you still get call reluctance sometimes. It doesn't matter how much you do it. And another person I talked to said one of the keys is that when you start making your calls, that you make enough to get past that dreaded point.
You got to make them
So that,
fast too. You got to
yeah,
get them like one after the other, which is where a dialer comes in. But if you don't have a dialer, because the dialer makes it so you can't pause, you just got to go. And then all
you
of a
just
sudden
gotta
you're
go.
like, oh, this is fine, because
Hmm.
people are nice. Most people are not rude.
Right. I've had some, but you look at it like I look at it like I have a goal and I gotta, if somebody said there's $1 million, but you gotta go and make these calls and people are gonna yell at you and say no, I'd still go.
Yeah.
And so it's really about what's on the other side of that and how
Right.
important that is to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it's really important. And
Yeah.
so even though I dread it,
It's
I
more
do it.
important. What you hate more is not reaching that goal.
Right. Right.
That's what you have to tie it to. I think, though, I agree with that. There's a couple of ways that like getting over call reluctance can work. One, tying it to this goal. And they can reach, I think people can reach out to us. We can help them do that. Right. And it's like, you have to get real specific. Like yours is very specific about what you're trying to do. The other way to do it is I truly like is the way I do it. Like first I had this goal, like I wanted to buy property and had all these things, right? Now it's like if I truly believe like I'm the best agent. Like I believe that because I care about people. I know how to do my job. I do it often. Like I think I'm the greatest. If I don't call them, their chances of having a bad experience with somebody else is really high. So
Yeah.
if I want to help people, I need to help them. And the only way they will know me is if I call them. Otherwise, I don't know them.
Yeah.
And if somebody is mean to me, I remind myself that I actually know where they live and they don't remember my name. And like there's like a little evil, like something in there that's like, ha ha ha.
Maybe we
So
should do that one time. Just call them back and give them the evil laugh and hang up.
no, I will sometimes door knock them because most people it's not you. They're not being mean to you.
Yeah.
They just don't either need your help, want your help, or they're having a bad day, right? So I need to know, do they need my help or are they just angry? Because a lot of angry people at first are my best clients because they really had a bad experience and we have to fix that. Like as professionals in our industry, the chances of them having a bad experience, unfortunately, are high.
Yeah.
Or, right? Or just a non-professional experience or a no value add experience. But when they work with us, right, the value is there. Their experience is great. Like yeah. So I don't know. So sometimes I'll door knock because they won't remember that I called them.
That's actually a good point. I've never thought about that because usually I just put a black mark on their name and just like cross them out and never call
The
them again.
angrier, the better. Because that means they're looking for a solution. That's why they're pissed. If they weren't pissed, they'd be apathetic to the result of not selling their house. If
Yeah.
I hired somebody to sell my house and it didn't work, I'd be pissed, right? Because I need to still sell my house.
True. Yeah.
So I think like your first tip is make sure that your goal is greater than the fear
Absolutely.
and specific.
Specific.
What other tips do you have? Just do the damn thing. That's a tip.
Just do the damn thing. Oh, and that other one about, once you get started making the calls, don't stop until you get past that fear of dread. I mean, that feeling of dread.
When does that usually happen for you?
I would say probably after my first maybe like 5 calls,
Not
maybe
even
3 to 5 calls.
contacts?
And nope, it doesn't even have to be contacts. It's just like
Oh, that's good.
after I start making the calls, I just get in the zone.
That's good.
And sometimes maybe just after talking to one person. And sometimes what's really funny is it doesn't even have to be a nice person that I talk to. It could be somebody that, I call and they say no and just hang up. And then I'm like, oh, that didn't hurt. And then I just keep going. So it doesn't even have to be a nice person. It's just that reminder that this is not going to kill me.
Right.
And then I can just keep going.
Right. Like you will
So
not die today.
yeah.
Yes.
And the other thing that I do is I set a goal for how many people during a session I want to talk to.
Good.
And then I don't stop until I get to that. And then, it depends on the amount of time I have. I try to make it reasonable within the amount of time I have.
So you can accomplish it because when you're accomplishing goals, it's easier to reach the next one.
Yep.
That makes sense. I love
Yep.
it.
Mm-hmm.
So you do business where?
I do business in Maryland and DC.
And if people have a referral for you, or actually maybe if they want to join, because we're on a call every day.
Ooh,
can we invite
can
them?
make it a party. We can make it a party.
So explain to them how it works.
So, the calls?
Yeah.
Oh, we just get up, we get on Zoom and we can see each other, but we're not, or not, depending on, because I have 2 phones. I have one that shows me, and then I have one that I'm using to make the calls.
Oh.
But it's about accountability and just being on the calls and making the calls with other people present. Sometimes it's nice to take that journey with a partner
It's
or
an easier
several.
way to get over the reluctance, right? Because for me, like I can be more accountable to you than I am to myself. So like, I mean, I don't work out, but if I did, if you and I were meeting at the gym, I would go every day, but like,
Yeah.
I don't do it at home.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
it's the same thing. So like, if I'm meeting you on the Zoom calls, I'm more inclined to be doing it every day versus having to do it by myself. So
Yep.
And we just do an hour, 50 minutes. So 8:30 Eastern to 9:20. That's it. You're on mute. So nobody can hear you. Nobody's judging you what you say. It's just working together. I love it.
It's just working together. Yeah, because I know even the time, like you say, we're going to meet at 8:30. There would be times if I wasn't with an accountability partner that I'd be like, maybe I'll just kind of do something else. 15 minutes has gone by and then it's 8:45. And the next thing you know, there's all these distractions. So that's the other good thing about having an accountability partner.
Yeah, that makes sense. So if people have referrals for you, in the DC, Maryland, where
If
what's
people
the
have
best?
referrals for me in the DC area, they can go to ChristiRojas.com. And so that is spelled ChristiRojas at ChristiRojas.com.
Okay.
I was
And
going to
that
give my email address, but no, it's .com.
okay. And that has all your contact information. They can reach out that way.
Yep.
Awesome. Well,
Yep.
thank you. Appreciate you being on.
All right, Jen. See you next time.
See ya.
Hey guys, it's Monica here. I am so excited to introduce you to Real Estate Fight Club's newest partnership, Cyberbacker. Cyberbacker is the best in the business for virtual assistants. How do I know this? Because I am a Cyberbacker customer and I love this company. I have my favorite, Frances. She is my Cyberbacker, been with me for over a year. She's amazing. She makes me better. She's eager to help. She's on time. She's disciplined. She's awesome. And this company, Cyberbacker, has figured out the system from the interviewing process to find out what I need, to the interviewing process to interview several Cyberbackers, to the onboarding process, to the training process. Very buttoned up, very awesome. You and I both know it's time for you to leverage. It's time for you to take that step, and Cyberbacker is a really safe, awesome solution. Make sure to mention Fight Club and you will be getting a free gift. All right, do it. Make the call. See ya.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a podcast.